upset with you, if they got angry, you got smart with them, you were sarcastic, you were what they considered to be a butthole, then they would pay you back by putting you in the cell with someone to be raped. Now, how sadistic, how sick can that be to have an officer of the law putting a human being, very often 19 and 20-year-old kids, very often white, into a cell with a person who was very often black or Mexican and older and known to be sexual deviants, to be raped and laugh about it. Look up the Stanford experiment. This is when a group of college students entered into a program in which one group became the prison guards and one group became the prisoners. And it was a fascinating study that showed how quickly these college students began to torture their fellow humans. Read a book called The Lucifer Effect, written by Philip Zimbardo, a brilliant man. He's been on Dr. Phil several times, and he was involved actually with the Stanford experiment. And he talks about how easy it is to, once you have been given power, once you have been given authority over another human being, to begin to abuse that person, to begin to torture that person, and still sleep at night. Because people often say, how do you sleep at night when you did that? Well, most people sleep very easily. You know, they anesthetize their pain. We justify whatever we did by say something you do in your head, something you do in your mind to say, oh, this is okay to do this. You know, I beat him because I think he was this, or I tortured him because I think he did that, or I think he's this kind of person or that kind of person. But at the end of the day, the reason you, my fellow citizens on the planet, need to be concerned about this is because, first and foremost, it is your money that we pay out when we pay to rectify these wrongs or to compensate for the wrongs. Secondly, I have always said this. I talked with a woman the other day who said, give me one reason that I should be concerned about what goes on in the prison system. And I explained to her that I could give her 800,000 reasons that she should be concerned about what goes on in the prison system. And that is the 800,000 people who get out every year. And when we get out, we come to your neighborhood and we live in your midst. And so if I've been tortured, beat, raped in the prison system, etc., what kind of citizen am I going to be? Because I'm coming out. I'm coming out. What kind of person will I be when I get out? And am I going to rob you? Am I going to torture you? Am I going to abuse you? So you have to be concerned about what goes on in the prison, because everybody in the prison is coming out of the prison. So this is why you should be concerned about what Baca was doing and allowing to be done at LA County Jail. Uh, so I hope he gets buried in the prison system, to be quite frank with you. And I don't wish, physical harm on anybody. I don't want them to beat him down any more than I want them to beat down someone who's accused of molestation. I think molestation is evil, wicked, sinister, sick, and whoever does it needs to go under the prison system. But I don't think anybody should sanction beating somebody, because that's not what America is about. That is not what we do. And I think what Baca has allowed to be done, because keep in mind, he's guilty of rape. He's an accessory to having inmates raped and murdered, etc. He should be put under the prison system. He should be punished severely. But I don't think anybody should sanction having inmates go beat him down any more than beating down someone, excuse me, I'm so sorry, who did something else. Because that is not what we do. That is not the justice system. That is not what our system of justice is built upon. It is not what it is about. But at the end of the day, I'm very, very glad he's going to prison. And my good friend, the counselor down at Donovan State Prison, I'm not going to give her name out or his name out. I'm not going to tell you what her nationality is or his color is. It's irrelevant. But there's a counselor down at Donovan State Prison who is a good human. And when I met this individual, I didn't like them, and they didn't like me. We had all these preconceived notions, and it ended up being as close as you can come to being a friendship with a person who's in a position of authority and a person who is an inmate in a jail system. What a great person this is. buoyed my spirit, made me feel like a human being, treated me with courtesy and respect. I used to look forward to seeing that individual come to work every day because I knew we were going to have a political discussion that was going to be worthwhile, that was going to be enlightening, that was going to elucidate the issues of the day. And I quite frankly miss talking to that individual because it actually made me feel better. And I thank God for them. I thank God for them. I will call a couple of names though. At Donovan State Prison, Austin. There's a big old tall white guy, 6'5" or so. He's a military soldier, and I hope if the counselor is listening, she or he will call Austin and tell him to listen to this podcast. Austin is a good man. I like him. I don't like his politics. I think he's got some bull crap with him and some of the stuff he talks about. I don't agree with. But Austin is one of the few prison guards, if you will. I'll give him the respect. I'll just call him a correctional officer who made me feel human, made me feel decent. And as I was getting ready to get out of that place, gave me a lot of time out of the cell and discussed politics with me. And at heart, is a good guy. I actually like him. And I'm not supposed to say that, but I will. And he ain't gonna get in no trouble because he's white. You understand what I'm saying? And so the counselor, that can lead you to believe that she is a minority, a Hispanic, an Indian, an Asian, or whatever. Um, she or he, that is. Nevertheless, you won't get it from me. And Orozco, now that's a different story. There's a guard down there at Donovan State Prison by the name of Orozco, and I know Austin might not like hearing this because that is his friend, but Orozco is no good. That's just the bottom line. He runs around talking about Donald this and Donald that. I've seen him do things that were corrupt. I've seen him assault inmates. I saw him try to set me up to put me in a position where he could assault me when he first met me. And again, I thank God for Austin because Austin was like an equalizing effect in the building. Austin was not an inmate lover, as there's different terminology and vernacular used in the prison system that don't have time to expound upon in this particular podcast. That's a whole other discussion. But there's a thing called inmate lover. Austin was not that. He would support his coworkers. That's the bottom line. And I probably don't really like that so much, but he would. And if he saw his coworker getting his hands dirty, he's not gonna automatically run to aid the inmate or think the inmate has not done anything. And no, he's going to do what most of them would do, which is go back their coworker. But I think the redeeming social value that Austin carries with him is I definitely know for a fact that after it's all over, if he finds out that his coworker was wrong, at minimum, he's going to tell his coworker that. He's not going to go rat him out or snitch him out, but he's going to go and tell him, hey, man, you shouldn't have done that. You're bringing heat on me. How did you get me? I want my job. That kind of thing. But at the end of the day, Mike Austin at Donovan State Prison is a good man. And what really made me like him is that he's a patriot and he's a war hero, and he served his nation distinctively and with valor. And anytime a person is willing to go out here and defend this country, they're defending America. They're defending black people, white people, dark people, light people, Hispanics. And Austin does that. And he has been a warrior for a very, very long time. And so, as critical as I am of the system, and Lord knows I am day and night, and as critical as I am of prison guards, and as critical as I am of California prison guards, especially, there's a few that I have something nice to say about. Mike Austin is one of them. O'Neill Claiborne is one of them. I could name 10 or 15 off the top of my head that I met over the years who were great people. Patricia Kennedy over at Folsom State Prison, great. Rhonda Carter, Captain Rhonda Carter, that is, over at Folsom State Prison, great. I'm calling their names because these people have retired now. Lisa Johnson Dovey. Or is it Linda Johnson Dovey? I think it's Lisa. Yeah, Lisa Johnson Dovey. What a great woman. Made it to the title of Associate Warden, African American, first female African American Associate Warden at Folsom State Prison. Jimbo Walker, Warden Jimmy Walker, was a pretty good fella. I could go on and on. And I can name some Klansmen too, like Steve Vance, Captain Steve Vance, straight Klan. Um, Joseph Stratton, Sergeant Joseph Stratton, Folsom State Prison, needs to be under the prison. Sergeant Joseph Stratton is a cancer that needs to be excised from the body of corrections. He's a devil. He is a devil. He doesn't have blue eyes, because if he did, he'd be a blue-eyed devil, but he's a brown-eyed devil. You know, devils come in every color, every creed. He's white, but, he doesn't have those blue eyes to go along with his father. Um, George Stratton, who was a chief deputy warden at Folsom State Prison, another devil. No good. Mike Martell, devil. I could go on and on with these devils. But the bottom line is, once they have been charged, they ought to go to trial. And once they go to trial, they ought to go to jail. And that is what it seems like is going to happen to Baca. And I could not be happier. I could not be happier. And I don't take joy in anyone else's pain, but I take joy in justice. And justice too long delayed is justice denied. And so this justice has been a long time coming. But because of what happened in that federal court, it seems like change has come to the LA County jail system. And excuse me, for all of those fellow inmates who might be out there listening, I would say keep the faith. And someone asked me last week, why didn't I give out my mailing address on Jerry's show? Because a lot of inmates heard her show. It's just at this juncture not appropriate for me to give out a mailing address. I just can't do that, because there are other considerations and other people that I have to consider. So if a person wants to write me a letter, they're going to have to email it. Write your family and have them to email me. I mean, I know it's difficult because I've been there, but that's just the way it is for right now. At some point in the future, as we grow the show and as we get more funding, etc., then we'll have an office mailing address. And who knows, maybe next week I'll go get a P.O. box and people can write me there. But for right now, it's ShermanDManning@gmail.com. ShermanDManning, all of that is one word, at gmail.com. And I look forward to your emails. Again, to those of you in San Jose, California, those of you in Los Angeles, and those in Phoenix, Arizona, which are our top cities in the United States right now, I thank you for tuning in. And I would ask you to please go to Facebook and tell all of your friends to tune in to this podcast. And also tell them to go to YouTube and look at the videos that we have posted in the past couple of weeks. We posted a new one yesterday. And the one that I criticized myself on, as I just told you, I called my own name too many times in that amount of time. Well, the bottom line is you're nervous when you haven't done this, and the stuff is new to me, and I'm still learning it, and I hope that I'm growing, and I hope that I am getting better and want to get better. But when I finally looked at it last night, my criticism was, darn, you got to call your name 5 times in 5 minutes, and so that was not appropriate, and I will try to rectify that in the next video. But those are my musings on Lee Baca and Paul Tanaka, and give me your thoughts and let me know what you think about it. Send me an email and let me know what you think about Baca. I think he should get 15 years in prison. What do you think? Let me know. I want to thank you for tuning in. We've been on the air now for 20 minutes and 19 seconds. Coming to you live. I hope some of you caught it live. I'll be looking at the statistics later on. And remember, we have to bring the Saturday listenership up. We have to bring it up, bring it up, bring it up. Thank you for tuning in. Keep the faith. Tell somebody else to listen to this on demand. Sherman D. Manning signing off. We'll see you the next time.